Hey there, welcome to S Historia. If you want to keep exploring the mysteries of the past with us, don't forget to follow our channel. Seriously, your support means a lot, so please subscribe, like, and drop a comment below. Let's dive into history together. What if I told you the ancient Egyptians had a dark side they kept hidden for thousands of years? Get ready to be amazed, because scientists have made groundbreaking discoveries that, well, completely change what we thought we knew about this mysterious civilization.
The largest mummification storage found in Egypt was recently uncovered in the Abusir necropolis, where a Czech team of archaeologists made a truly incredible discovery. They found the biggest known storage site for mummification tools, and honestly, this discovery stunned experts.
The storage, dating back to the 26th dynasty, contained more than 350 ceramic jars used to hold embalming materials. They were neatly arranged into 14 groups, and some of them still had remnants of the substances once used in mummification.
Among the most striking finds were 4 limestone jars identified through inscriptions as belonging to Remar Enai, son of Lady Ati Churu and a military commander of Egypt's Foreign Legion. Interestingly, although the jars were prepared and rituals performed, they were never used, suggesting either that Remar recovered from a serious illness, or that his family rejected the embalming work. King Tutankhamun's folding camp bed is just fascinating. New research suggests that he may have slept on the world's first version of a modern folding camp bed.
A small model analyzed by researchers in Tokyo points to a 3-part folding design. Howard Carter discovered the full-size bed in 1922. It featured 4 lion-shaped legs and copper alloy hinges strong enough to bear weight.
Though the design was complex, it was honestly ingenious. Tutankhamun, who had a clubfoot and needed a cane to walk, probably dreamed of camping and hunting, even if he couldn't join long expeditions. His folding bed is seen as both practical and poetic, a glimpse into the imagination of a physically challenged young king.
You know, in early 2023, archaeologists from New York University uncovered more than 2,000 mummified ram heads at the Temple of Ramses II in Abydos, along with other animal remains.
These offerings, dating back to the Ptolemaic era, really show the long-lasting reverence for the pharaoh centuries after his death.
The team also discovered the remains of a large palace with 5-meter-thick walls from Egypt's Old Kingdom, plus statues, papyrus fragments, ancient trees, leather clothing, and shoes.
Abydos was not only a royal cemetery, but also a pilgrimage center dedicated to Osiris. These finds help us, recreate the ancient landscape as it existed before Ramses' temple was even built.
While Tutankhamun's golden mask is definitely the most famous, it's not the only masterpiece out there.
The funerary mask of General Wenabonyer, found in Tanis by Pierre Montet, is another treasure.
Made of gold and inlaid with colored glass paste, the mask is really striking, especially its finely detailed features and those asymmetrical ears.
The tomb also contained jewelry, golden statues, 3 exquisite gold and silver vessels, a lapis lazuli ram figurine, 4 canopic jars, and several Ushabti figurines.
In 2022, a human tooth dated to between 1,800 and 2,000 years old was discovered in Georgia, strengthening the theory that this region was home to some of Europe's earliest human settlements.
The site at Dmanisi has already yielded astonishing finds, including a 1-million-year-old skull in the 1990s.
Though this tooth is younger, it really supports the idea that Georgia was among the first places humans settled after leaving Africa.
Still, the oldest known human fossil remains a partial jawbone from Ethiopia, dating back 2.8 million years.
So, in 2020, during some construction work in Corinaldo, Italy, archaeologists actually uncovered one of the most remarkable Iron Age burials ever found there.
The grave contained a chariot, a helmet, a bronze shield, weapons, and, get this, over 100 ceramic vessels, suggesting the man was a prince, or maybe even a king of the Piceni people, who lived along Italy's Adriatic coast about 2,700 years ago.
The Piceni traded with the ancient Greeks, but sadly, they were eventually destroyed by the Romans in 286 BC, which pretty much wiped out their culture.
In Isfahan, Iran, the Ali Kapur Palace, which was built in the early 1600s during the Safavid dynasty, holds this really fascinating acoustic marvel.
Inside the palace is the so-called music room, where the Shah used to host royal gatherings.
Its walls are carved with these vase-shaped cavities that absorb echoes and create a sound environment that was, honestly, centuries ahead of its time.
If you stand in the center and clap, there's no echo at all, but the design still allowed every guest to clearly hear live instruments like the sitar and kamanche.
Archaeologists have recently found these amazingly lifelike mummy portraits in ancient Philadelphia, Egypt.
These rare images actually captured the real appearance of the deceased and were discovered alongside artifacts like a funerary building, statues of Isis and Aphrodite, and inscribed tablets in both Demotic and Greek.
Because portraits like these were so expensive, they probably belonged to the middle and upper classes.
Their rarity really makes this an extraordinary discovery.
Temples were central to every ancient civilization. One of the most famous was the Serapeum of Alexandria, located in the city's Greek quarter. Though in Egypt, the temple had strong Greek cultural roots. It was a place where two worlds met, dedicated to the god Serapis, and became one of the most important religious centers of its time.
For pilgrims and travelers from all over the world, this temple was famous for its incredible healing powers, which drew people hoping for relief from their illnesses. It was also known for fertility rituals, attracting many couples who came to pray for the blessing of children. These examples show how much influence temples had in that era. They represented hope, answered prayers, and, honestly, the promise of a better life.
Few archaeological sites are as important as the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Its discovery in 1922 by Howard Carter and his team sparked a global fascination with ancient Egypt.
Media coverage alone made it one of the most famous archaeological finds in history, and it even gave rise to the legend of the curse of the pharaoh. Some people involved in the discovery did die under strange circumstances, which fueled the curse story, but Carter's team later admitted they invented it to scare off potential grave robbers.
Even with the discovery, many mysteries about Tutankhamun remain unsolved. Why he wasn't given a proper royal burial despite being a beloved pharaoh, who his real parents were, and whether their relationship was forbidden.
His tomb remains a vital piece of history and will be treasured for generations.
Archaeologists study many different burial sites depending on the civilization, but the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum in Malta stands out. It is the only known underground cemetery from the Neolithic period in all of Europe, making it incredibly important for understanding life and burial customs at the time.
Located beneath Malta's surface not far from the capital, it's a vast network of underground tunnels and chambers that served as a sacred burial place thousands of years ago.
Dedicated to the god Horus, the Temple of Edfu is, honestly, one of the best preserved temples in all of Egypt. Built during the Ptolemaic period, it's really impressive for both its size and its condition. The walls are just covered with hieroglyphic inscriptions and carvings that tell Egyptian myths and describe all sorts of religious rituals. And, the great hypostyle hall, with those massive decorated columns and ceilings, is especially breathtaking. The temple is also a reminder of Greek influence on Egyptian art and architecture during the Ptolemaic age.
In 1940, French archaeologist Pierre Montet made an extraordinary discovery in the city of Tanis, the nearly intact tomb of Pharaoh Suzenne I, who ruled from 1039 to 991 BC. His name means the star appearing in the beloved city of Amun. Suzenne's was buried with great splendor. His outer coffin was made of red granite, the middle one of black granite, which had actually been reused, and the innermost coffin was crafted entirely from pure silver. That was a real rarity in ancient Egypt, since silver was scarcer and more valuable than gold. The silver coffin was richly decorated with gold details, including a funerary mask. The outer cover was surprisingly well preserved, though the inner parts had decayed over the centuries. His tomb also contained treasures belonging to his queen, two other pharaohs before him, a prince, and a high priest. Suzenne became known as the Silver Pharaoh because of this unique coffin.
In ancient Egyptian mummification, the major organs were removed and embalmed separately, then stored in special containers called canopic jars, which were placed beside the mummy. These jars were used throughout Egyptian history and, honestly, they remain a crucial source of knowledge for archaeologists today. Originally, the lids were flat, but starting from the New Kingdom onward, they were carved into the heads of the deceased or protective deities. Each jar was linked to one organ and guarded by one of the four sons of Horus. The human-headed jar Imsati held the liver. The baboon-headed jar Hapi held the lungs. The jackal-headed jar Duamutef held the stomach, and the falcon-headed jar Kebesinuef held the intestines. The jars were also watched over by goddesses like Isis, Nephthys, Selket, and Neith, and had to be placed facing specific directions. Egyptians really believed that if the organs weren't properly preserved in these jars, the dead couldn't be reborn into the afterlife.
Finally, thank you so much for listening and joining us on this journey through ancient Egypt. If you enjoyed this video, please consider following S Historia and watching our future videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. We'd love to